Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities and Miniatures, and welcome to the video that was too hot for YouTube to handle. Oh yeah, we're looking at naked Gallic Fanatics. Oh yeah, cue the funky bass line. Look, he's so hot and sexy with his nudity that he can't even be shown fully on the cover header of the bag that these miniatures came in. Yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this, but I like how most of the dudes on the box, and if you really want to see a bunch of undressed men on CG renders, you can get a long look there. I like that they have the guys strategically with the shields covering themselves. So this is one of those kits, and I'm like trying not to act like an immature 13-year-old and giggle like a fool because they're naked, but you know, they fought naked. I mean, so why wouldn't you have that kind of stuff on the tabletop? We've seen it in plenty of other scales. Why not in plastic, right? Right. So what's interesting is right off the bat, having actually built some of the Gauls, their Gaelic warrior set. I think I built the Gauls. Is that the same thing? I don't even remember. I know I built the Germanic tribes also from Victrix, and I think I've posted some of that stuff before. But I can tell from a lot of the poses, especially that one right there, that some of this stuff is based on that kit. It's just they basically took all of the covers off and let them run wild. And it is good to note that all the parts are interchangeable with the other set. In fact, you could say that about most Victrix kits. So the first thing that pops to mind is the fact that I feel like there's a lot of empty space. I don't know where this falls in the timeline of Victrix releases. I feel like some of their earlier sprues and some of the later sprues tended to be a bit more dense. Like I'm thinking like the Dark Age stuff. I feel like there's a lot more packed onto the sprue than this. It just feels kind of empty. Maybe it's just this middle section that feels empty, and it could be that this is stuff that gets swapped out because the parts, like the arms and the heads, well, I don't necessarily remember you've got the guys with like the spiky hair. Was it the woad that they would use in it? I know that's what they would use to color themselves. But, I mean, if you want some new, and maybe they were on the other sprue and I just don't remember, but I was going to say, at least you've got the option of a variety of heads. If they're different than the Gallic sprue, I'm going to have to go dig through my collection. That's the problem, is I've got so many Victrix sprues that either I bought or traded or been given or swapped or whatever that I don't know where they came from half the time. Or even worse, if I'm going through some of my like historical bits and it's like I don't know what these heads are anymore. So at least these kinds of heads I can identify. These are pretty obvious what they are. I also want to point out that that spear was sharp enough to injure me. I'm like, where is it? I had a puncture mark. You can't really see it now, but yeah, he stabbed me with that spear good and proper, so these dudes mean business. It is interesting that they've got the belts, so you can have them wear their sword scabbards there and clip off the hilts if needed, if they're going to be wielding the swords. They also have, interestingly enough, sculpted pubic hair, which is not something I thought I would discuss on this channel, but here we are. There's new things we do every day. That's almost as fun as talking about all the genitalia of Darklands models, because those were always fun. I know the local hobby shop, one of the guys was just infatuated with the fact that every model of my collection seemed to have his junk exposed for everyone to see. Got your boss man helmet there. Most likely pillow. No, I was going to say, no, it's not a Roman helmet, isn't necessarily. But looking good there. Basic shield designs, we've got the, I don't know, signifer type stick, I don't know the names, bundle of javelins. So you've got just about just everything you need for a normal warband. It's just that they're not going to bother wearing anything. And like I said, this upside down one right here, this pose I recognize. I've painted one, Sparkle Trout's painted one, but obviously the ones that we did were wearing, I think, just the loincloths, and that's about it. I'll see if I can find them just to compare them. But, yeah. Are we going to have some painted ones for the other part of this video is going to be a good question. I don't know. We'll let you sit and find out. If I can get to it in time, maybe. I'm going to say probably not, but never say never, right? We're going to find out how these naked dudes turn out. Sit tight and we'll see. Okay, we got a bunch of our clothless Gauls finished up here. And as you can see, they're not wearing much of anything. And I also made a mess with the glue as like the last of one of my few remaining testers orange tubes. I'll be damned if I'm not going to use it and make a mess in the process. So, I mean, honestly, they're not all that different from the actual Gallic warrior kit, other than the fact that their junk is exposed and their man bits are proudly on display for everyone to see. I just... the visual composition of them wearing a nicely ornamented helmet and nothing else is just kind of an odd look. I know what they did. But the funny thing was, I think I mentioned, and if I didn't, I'm mentioning it now. A friend of mine was talking about taking these guys and just covering them in pouches because obviously they're not wearing anything. And he was reminiscing about like Rob Liefeld style 90s extreme skin tight superhero costumes and just throwing a bunch of pouches on it and painting his body like bright blue, bright red, and just pretending he's a superhero. And I thought to myself, you know what, that sounds like a wonderful idea. I should totally do something like that. So I did. I am totally going to paint this guy up. And he's got the wild extreme hair. And he's got this nice Condor gun that's like all strapped and bolted together. I thought that's quite appropriate. I don't even know where all these pouches came from. Yes, he's got his toes showing, but maybe I'll just like glob some glue over that or something and fuse them all together so we can pretend they're boots. I don't know what language I'm speaking today. I gotta do something else with his left hand. I feel like I should have like a knife or something. That'd be pretty extreme. But yeah, I think the real... You're not even a Gaul. Get out of here. I'm pretty sure you're from the Gaul kit. Or you may be a Germanic warrior, but you know what? They're pretty interchangeable with the other Victrix, classical kits. Putting them on an appropriate size base, you can see they're going to fit in quite nicely. And the structure of the arms and everything are totally compatible, so... But it would also be a problem because these arms are going to be sleeved, whereas these are not. Interesting idea, though. If you wanted to take the guys in the male coats, for example, and then just ditch the sleeves entirely, which would be a look, and have them go into battle like that, could be something worth thinking about. But, they're going to fit in, I think, size-wise, since we got a Viking hanging around here anyways. And somebody's busy honking their horns as they fly down the street there. Thank you. Dacians. I mean, whatever you have from Victrix, I think these guys are going to work if you're looking for fodder to customize kits further or just to make your troops a bit more unique. I think the bodies are all pretty cross-compatible with each other. I mean, if you wanted to mix in some stuff with, War Games Atlantic or some of the other manufacturers out there, I think it probably would work pretty well. I can't, like I said, think of many other kits that had the spiky hair. Maybe not the Warlord stuff so much. I don't know if it'll fit in as good with theirs just due to the size and scale of the figures and the design. But, if you've got an established Victrix Germanic tribes or Gaul army, these are going to be some fun ones to add. So, keep your eyes peeled. And keep your decency about you. And with that said, then, this has been High Lord Tamberlane with Obscurities and Miniatures, saying thanks for watching, and we'll see you back here soon. Bye-bye.